History was made as thousands gathered to celebrate the 35th annual Pride Parade. Justin Trudeau becoming Canada's first sitting Prime Minister to march in Sunday's parade. The PM greeted by mobs of well-wishers and even took a few hits from water guns. He got pretty soaked in the end. Also making an appearance in the parade for the first time, members of Black Lives Matter. However, what caught some by surprise was the sit-in at Yonge and College that resulted in holding up the parade for about half an hour. The co-founder of BLM, Rodney DeVireless, joins me now to discuss this. I feel like the last name. Give it to me again.
DeVireless.
DeVireless. There we go. All right. As I mentioned, the sit-in caught some people by surprise, and also the demands that were made to Pride Toronto. Were they aware that the sit-in was going to happen and that demands were going to be made?
No. No. So those were demands that were created from consultation with community, LGBT Black folks, specifically Black queer youth, which is the only space dedicated to Black LGBT youth, and Blockorama.
A lot of the demands of inclusivity, a lot of people completely get and understand, but the approach, not everyone is appreciating the approach in such a celebratory parade to have it shut down and then for 30 minutes and then have demands being made. Some people are saying just not all that diplomatic.
Yeah, I think it's really important to actually realize that the first Pride was a riot, and that as such, there's such a political connotation to Pride. 20 years ago, when the Dyke March was being created, that was seen as something that was very divisive. But right now, it's one of the main staples of Pride, the Pride Festival. So I think that, you know, it's for folks that might think this tactic is a bit too divisive or a bit out there. I just challenge them to think of which side of history they'll be on in 20 years and how they'll think of Black inclusion within LGBT spaces.
You mentioned how it began, the roots, the riots, the bathhouse riots, and one of the demands is to exclude the police within the parade. A lot of people say such strides have been made between the gay community and the police from
certain gay communities. So I think that that's what's really important to acknowledge, is that certain strides have been made for certain LGBT communities, and the LGBT community is a broader umbrella than we're thinking. What happens to Black LGBT folks, Indigenous LGBT folks who are engaged in homelessness, who are engaged in sex works, LGBT
don't you want
folks.
The police on, don't you want the police on your side, on the gay community side? They have come together over the years. There's been such a rough beginning, and this is how the parade came about after those riots. And now having a police float is also, it serves so many purposes. Showing the relationship, how far that has come, and then also that even to have gay members in the police force, it's an outlet for the police force as well.
Yeah, I think that
so to lose that presence, some people see as a step back.
So I think that there's two things in your question that I want to highlight. First, you know, gay and lesbian and transgender cops there's no way we have the authority to say that this is in their pride as well, that they're allowed to actually come in and to enjoy Pride. What we're saying, though, is when you wear the uniform, there's a particular connotation to that, and that the police have made some strides with some members of our community, but haven't made strides with a lot of others. And police haven't actually made an active interest in making strides with some of these communities, including the Black community. It's been a whole year of talking about anti-Black racism. It's been a whole year of talking about carding. Carding happens to LGBT Black folks as well. It's been a whole year sitting in Tent City talking about police violence, and I think that really this should be a moment for Torontonians and for the public to actually know that the cushy relationship between the queer community and the police only is for certain members of our community and doesn't actually represent the best interest of everyone.
All right, I know this conversation will continue. Rodney DeVireless, co-founder of BLM Toronto, thanks for coming in. Perfect.